So as we all know by now, mission creep is in full swing yet again, with Boris Johnson announcing Plan B as we all expected he would. A nice little distraction from public sentiment around his parties among other things, but I don't think it's gonna wash with many people, I've gotta say. At this point, I'm seeing untold amounts of people who followed his every word in my personal life now saying enough is enough and sod this tosspot. First it was 15 million jabs, then 2 jabs for freedom after moving the goalpost multiple times, before finally in July saying opening was irreversible and all of this. Of course, the fact he said it was cautious but irreversible in July will only piss more people off now, so that is at least good news if you ask me. At the end of the day, we all knew it was complete bollocks the moment he said it, and I'm expecting it won't end here. First week of January could see more the way these clowns are going, maybe even before that, but they know the public will tell them where to stick it over Christmas now. Of course, before and after then, we might see protests like we've seen in Europe, Australia and elsewhere for weeks now. There's no guarantee that we will, but it's certainly going to reach that point soon, I think. Now, something that I've said before and I'm going to keep saying again is any business that implements this will be outright boycotted by me. I don't care if they say the government made them do it or any of that. That shit's literally not gonna wash at all. Just following orders segregating society didn't wash 80 years ago, so it certainly ain't gonna wash now. All you have to do is say no and encourage fellow businesses to do the same, and then this all stops. Once you stop complying, the government won't be able to do shit, let me tell you. If not, then Europe has literally shown us where this is gonna lead to with your compliance. At the end of the day, France and Ireland introduced jab passports for nightclubs and shit like that many months ago. Guess what? They're all in a month shutdown, so if businesses think this is going to keep them open, they need to lay off the crack pipe, I've got to say. These are obviously completely pointless medically due to transmission continuing and are only about control. They will lose these businesses a lot of money implementing them before the government shuts them down anyway. Now on top of that, we also had Boris Johnson talking about a conversation relating to compulsory jabs, which he both did and didn't say. He worded it like a conversation around how to encourage those who won't comply, that is sort of saying it without actually saying it, the dirty snake. Of course, it's obvious bullshit because there is never going to be a conversation or debate, let me tell you that. The narrative must be followed and any expert straying from it gets silenced, as you know. How many doctors and scientists have been cancelled for questioning shit that they're experienced in over the past 20 months? So yeah, I don't trust their national debate, national conversation, or pretty much anything they come out with. If they told me the sky was blue and water was wet, I'd question that shit at this point. Plus, we also have to remember the amount of times this government, its ministers, and everyone else has ruled out the jab passports as he's now expanding. They literally say it won't happen, and then within 6 months they go and do it anyway in a big fuck you to the public. This, in his words, is being done to increase uptake, which I have to say made me laugh a little. At this point, I can literally save him the time and trouble by saying the people who have not had it or won't take the booster are not hesitant, they're just not interested in it. The more that you push, the more solidified that likely becomes in many people. I've said it multiple times and studies over decades have literally said the same thing. Now, of course, some may never have wanted it to start with, while others may have been waiting for the 5 or 10 year safety data before turning against it, likely following government and media vilifying them with endless threats and coercive tactics that we've seen. I myself might have been in that latter group had I not spotted the coercive approach from all involved almost instantly. Then, of course, there is the massive elephant in the room relating to the fact that some people worry about side effects, which the government is slowly admitting exists. This is obviously despite side effects being part of almost every medical treatment there's ever been. Shit, paracetamol has side effects too, for fuck's sake. I would bet that this is another reason why many people don't trust them, and let's be honest, can you blame them? But a year of covering shit up relating to adverse effects is obviously not gonna help that, when being honest should have been the policy from day dot. Of course, agendas don't like honesty, do they? So it wasn't likely to happen, let's be honest. But at this point, the government itself and even the CDC admits that myo and pericarditis are a thing, despite it happening for months and with even the NHS refusing to acknowledge it. The case of Holly Mav, for instance, who is one I've looked at myself, is part of the problem that I'm talking about. She suffered an adverse effect and is even documented on YouTube that I will link below if you want to watch it. But in her case, not only did the government ignore these symptoms, the NHS tried to ignore them for months, which, let's be honest, is bang out of order, especially after Boris Johnson expected the country to lock down to save it. Obviously, when you couple that with the way that these politicians and media fuck pigs have acted in the past year, I lack the confidence or evidence that anything they want from me is good. So that literally solidified my decision on that one and about not trusting what they say. This is why I always look into every claim that they make. So hesitant, I would say no. Try not fucking interested, sweetheart. Now, following on from Boris yesterday, we actually had Sajid Javid doing the rounds this morning in the media, stating they won't be forcing people to get the jab because it's unethical and all of this, which for once is correct, but that don't mean they're not gonna do it, does it? As I've already said in this video, remember they said literally the same thing about the jab passports, 6 or 8 or 9 months ago now. In fact, they said it multiple times, let's be honest.
Do you envisage imposing mandatory COVID jabs?
No. The only place we've said that there will be mandatory requirement, that's in certain settings such as the NHS and social care. But if you're talking about mandatory jabs as some countries in Europe have announced, no. In fact, I'd go even further. I think it's unethical. And also, I think that at a practical level, having some kind of universal mandate for vaccination doesn't work. Getting vaccinated needs to be a positive decision. We're lucky in this country. We have a very high vaccination rate. There's still some vaccine hesitancy out there. But I think you need to work with people, persuade them, and help them to understand why it's good for them and their loved ones and the people around them.
Is it unethical not to take the jab?
No.
So there you actually have him saying that it's not going to happen and it's unethical and all of this. But as always, take it with all of the salt in the Dead Sea, because I trust them as much as I would my kids with Jimmy Savile. But in finishing up, I've got to say, they can stick their national conversation, Plan B, jab passports and anything else firmly up their arse. I ain't complying with this attempt at medical tyranny, let me tell you.
There is a pattern consistent throughout history of oppressed people turning on the oppressors, slaves against their owners, the peasantry against the feudal barons, colonies, Mr. Verhofstadt, against their empires. And that is why Britain is leaving. And it doesn't matter which language you use, we are going, and we are glad to be going. We're off.